So I was a die-hard hunter, wildlife kid, and then I went to school in Kansas and came up here to the prairies. And boy, I just love this place. It's, if you love ducks, this is the place to be. And then as an academic and scientist, knowing that most of what drives duck numbers happens here on the prairies. So if you care about ducks, you really need to work on the prairies if you want to see more ducks. Delta has a long history up here in the prairie pothole region. That's an accident of where we started. But once we started doing the research, we really discovered that the prairie pothole region is the driver of duck numbers. 50 to 70% of ducks are produced here on the prairies. I'm Frank Rohr. I'm President and Chief Scientist for Delta Waterfowl. I run the science programs here at Delta by and large. So we do a lot of our research with graduate students and with faculty from various universities across the continent. The prairie pothole region is a huge area. It's much bigger than the size of Texas, and yet relative to where the total range of where ducks nest up in the boreal of Canada and Alaska and Arctic river deltas, it's a tiny fraction of the total nesting area, like 10%, but it produces a huge fraction of the ducks. So it's where it makes sense for Delta to be and work. We spend a ton of time monitoring nest success because nest success is the biggest driver of duck production. So nest success is just, does the nest hatch or do the eggs get eaten by a predator? So to monitor nest success, it's kind of a cool process. Most of these prairie ducks, so you take from mallards to teal and everything in between, pintails, widgeon, gadwall, the whole 9 yards, green-winged teal, blue-winged teal, shovelers. By and large, they nest in the grass, taller grass than this stuff, but they nest in grass from that high to that high. So our job is to go out there and find a bunch of nests. And you could pull a long chain, and the chain is, quarter-inch chain, like the chain you use to pull out a car or something like that. You drag it across the cover, you drag it between two ATVs, and it disturbs the vegetation enough to flush females. You flush the female, and then you stop the ATVs and you go back and you find the nests. So when we want to do management, we're focused on improving nest success. The two big drivers are improving nest success and brood survival. And so in this predator management, we spend a lot of time finding nests and monitoring those nests to see do they hatch or do they fail, so we know, yeah, we've done a great job here. We've gotten a 50 to 60% nest success, or in that field, we're getting 5% nest success, and that's a train wreck. You're not producing any ducks that are going to fly south. Guys give us money in the South, and their goal is simple. You guys are supposed to produce some ducks. I want to see ducks over my decoys. And the best way to do that is protect wetlands and make sure that once you have pairs using wetlands, they got to hatch eggs. They got to have ducklings survive. So that's what we're all about. When we find a nest, we do this thing called field candling. We look through the egg and you can see the developing embryo. So if it's fresh, it's just been laid, there's no embryo, it's perfectly clear almost. But by the time it gets to 6 or 8 days, you got a little tiny developing embryo, and you can see the blood vessels going out into the yolk and albumin to bring the nutrients in. And so you can see pretty well the stage of the egg. So that way we know how old the nest is. What we try and do is monitor the nest and check it about every 7 days, and then we know whether it hatched or failed. When you're finding a whole bunch of nests and the vast majority of those eggs are getting eaten by predators, it's pretty obvious that duck production is limited by predators. These predators that are eating most of the eggs really keep ducks from producing a lot more. So when we started the trapping research, it was interesting because there was this general view that trapping had no chance of being an effective management technique. We went out and found guys that were professional trappers, and we contracted with them. And they know what they're doing, they're totally dedicated to it, and we found that it really improves nest success. We're doing a management technique that's proven to be super efficient. In fact, it's the most efficient way to produce ducks. You got habitat that has ducks nesting, and yet they're doing really poor. Trap it, and you'll see a huge improvement in duck production. And the cool thing is ducks are responding. When we trap those fields, after a couple of years, we'll have fields where we have 1,000 ducks nesting because nest success has been so high. Females home, their offspring home, and so we're getting incredible duck production in an area that previously had dismal duck production. And in some areas, hen houses make more sense. So you put hen houses up in some areas in the parklands where you have a lot of water. Predator management hen houses mean that ducks are successful by and large on their first nest attempt rather than having to nest 3 times. Ducklings that are hatched early have much higher survival than ducklings hatched late. You know, hunters have donated a lot of money to, I think, produce more ducks over their decoys, and that's what we're doing. And as a duck hunter, you know, it's about duck hunting. This is why we're doing this. We're trying to produce more ducks that'll be over your decoys in the South. And so, you know, I love the fact that members from $35 members, you know, up to major donors, it's great that they're giving back to the resource, trying to produce ducks so that we have more birds in the fall flight. Hunters have a long tradition of giving back to the resource and supporting what they really love.